In recent days, Jungkook has given several promotional interviews for the announcement of the new season of Are You Sure? Among all the statements he made, one moment stood out and generated much interpretation, not only because of what he said, but also because of how the others reacted. During the interview, he was asked what he would like to try at least one more time in his life. Jungkook answered that he wanted to go skydiving again. Interestingly, he had already gone skydiving before, and he did it for the first time with Taehyung. That experience was significant for both of them, and Jungkook recalled it naturally, as something that marked that first time they did it together. The mention wasn't exaggerated or out of place, he simply spoke about an activity he experienced with Taehyung and that he would like to repeat. Jimin's reaction to that answer was quite striking. It was a very marked, almost immediate expression, as if he wasn't enthusiastic about the idea. This makes sense if we remember an episode of Run BTS in which they all had to jump from a high place. Although Taehyung was afraid of heights, he tried it along with Namjoon. Neither Jimin nor Suga dared to do it. This situation, seen in retrospect, explains why Jimin doesn't share Jungkook's taste for that kind of activity. Another detail that many fans noticed during the interview was Jungkook's attitude. At several points, he seemed disconnected, as if he were physically present but not paying attention to what was being said. While Jimin was speaking, Jungkook seemed to be in his own space, almost as if his mind were elsewhere. In addition, Jungkook did several live streams during the same week, but in none of them did he mention the show Are You Sure? He didn't talk about the production, didn't invite fans to watch it, or comment on any related details. He simply engaged in everyday activities, playing video games, listening to music, singing, and eating peacefully at home. His attitude was completely relaxed, showing no interest in promoting the project. In contrast, Jimin did mention the show in one of his streams, which made the difference between the two even clearer. What appears externally is a promotion organized by the company, while Jungkook seems to see it as a one-off project. There was no intention to boost the promotion on his own, at least not in the public broadcasts he did. Another point that generated debate was the interpretation of some Jungkook fans, who claimed that Jungkook avoided looking at Jimin because Jimin supposedly made him nervous. However, those who know Jungkook's personality better know that this explanation doesn't make sense. Jungkook doesn't act that way out of nervousness in front of a bandmate he's been with for so many years. The reality is that his connection with Taehyung has proven to be different. Taehyung has been the one who has understood him most naturally, without pressuring him or using him for his own benefit. His support has been constant in all projects, even the smallest ones. That's why, when Jungkook said on another occasion that Taehyung was his refuge, he expressed it from a personal experience. Taehyung is the one who understands him without needing explanations. Taehyung's vlog from Los Angeles has become some of the most captivating content we've seen from him in a long time. From the very first minute, it's clear why he's so captivating. Taehyung exudes a presence that blends style, confidence, and a naturalness few artists display in front of the camera. In this vlog, his image and demeanor effortlessly stand out, making each scene compelling on its own. One of the most talked about parts of the video is where Taehyung showcases his physical abilities and his connection to the SDT team. There, he appears focused, determined, and committed to what he's doing. This section not only demonstrates his discipline and preparation but also offers a glimpse into a more direct and transparent side of him, something many fans find particularly valuable because it challenges the notion that everything in his life is filtered or meticulously planned. His participation in these activities clearly illustrates the kind of work he does and the high standards he sets for himself. Meanwhile, criticisms arose on social media that don't really target the vlog's content, but rather comparisons with other recent programs, especially Are You Sure? Some people claim that the vlog style imitates what others are doing, But these comparisons don't make much sense when you understand the difference between personal content like Taehyung's and a scripted program like Are You Sure, where every interaction follows instructions and spontaneity is minimal. This isn't a secret. It's known that this type of content is a response to business decisions and image strategies. In fact, many fans recognize that several scenes from this new season resemble moments seen before on Run BTS, but when Taekook shared the screen, the energy was completely different, freer, more authentic, and without relying on rigid structures. The interesting thing is that Taehyung's vlog precisely recaptures the naturalness lost in other content from the group under corporate management. He isn't trying to imitate anything or replicate other people's dynamics. It simply shows his day, his practices, how he explores the city, and his presence in front of the camera. For many fans, this style is reminiscent of the times when seeing Taehyung and Jungkook together allowed them to understand them beyond the stage. Although Jungkook doesn't participate in this vlog, the way Taehyung expresses himself and shares details of his life feels close to those moments Taekook has shown previously. The connection is more of an emotional reference for fans than something explicitly stated in the content, and that's precisely why it feels genuine. In the end, what this vlog offers is a clear glimpse of Taehyung as he is, direct, professional, and with a way of presenting himself that combines maturity with simplicity. He doesn't need elaborate effects or structured scripts to captivate the audience. His presence is enough. And for those who closely follow Taekook's story, each piece of content like this is an opportunity to reconnect with that naturalness they appreciate so much, which, even without being forced, always leaves room for interpretation and remembering shared moments between them. Over the years, many Taekookers have pointed out a clear pattern: Jungkook and Taehyung maintain a dynamic unlike anything else. It's not just how they look at each other, but how often they do, the precision with which they seek each other out even in chaotic or camera-filled situations. It's a habit that doesn't disappear when there's an audience, nor does it change when they're in a relaxed setting. And it's precisely this consistency that reveals it's not something staged or a gesture created to please fans. It's part of their natural way of relating. What's striking is that Jungkook doesn't maintain this kind of silent communication with others. With Taehyung, on the other hand, the gestures are spontaneous, almost automatic. It's noticeable in the way he follows him with his eyes without any obvious reason, in how he touches him without needing to justify it, or in how they approach each other when no one expects it. This constant repetition demonstrates that the connection between them has a different rhythm, something that can't be dismissed as mere coincidence. Their relationship is also based on something deeper. Taehyung has been the one who has understood Jungkook most naturally. He hasn't pressured him or tried to take advantage of their relationship. His support has been constant in both big and small projects, always without seeking recognition. That's why, when Jungkook once mentioned that Taehyung was his refuge, it wasn't just a decorative phrase. It was a direct description based on shared experiences. The trust they have doesn't come from grand declarations, but from a constant, quiet, and stable presence. However, what's striking within the fandom itself is how this closeness is interpreted. There's a clear contrast. The same gestures and the same attitude take on completely different meanings depending on who performs them. When Taehyung or Jungkook act naturally, criticism arises. Everything is analyzed, exaggerated, or questioned. But when the same type of interaction occurs with Jimin, many see it as completely acceptable, even idealized. It's as if the same behavior has different rules depending on who's involved. This is where it's worth asking whether everyone is truly seeing the same thing or if personal preferences are having too much of an influence. It's not about comparing relationships or pitting the members against each other. It's about recognizing that the differences in the fandom's reactions aren't about what the boys are doing, but about how each person chooses to interpret it. Instead of dividing or pointing fingers, it's wiser to observe objectively. Taehyung and Jungkook maintain a connection that works in a unique way, with gestures and behaviors that don't need much embellishment to be understood. There's no need to force conclusions or transform their interactions into something more than they already are. The important thing is to recognize that their bond exists, that it's visible, and that it has been consistent for years. Everyone can interpret it as they wish, but ignoring it is no longer coherent when it's so present in every stage they've shared.